Hello and welcome to Kelly's Wordy Reactions. So, hi everybody. Thank you so much for stopping by. Let's go ahead and get into this subject. So, I'm driving right now, so I hope the road noise doesn't bother you too much. But I'm driving, and I wanted to give a quick update since I did start the Peach MCINTYRE content. And I wanted to give a quick update on something that I just learned about. And just in case you are a Peach MCINTYRE watcher, so to speak, some people are Peach Patch and they love Peach, and some people are Peach watchers, and they love to watch Peach and see what type of foolishness is going to be going on in any given day, right? So whichever side of the fence you fall on, I heard this morning that Peach is actually evicted. Like, she's going to have to move. So, if you know, like I know, right? Peach was in the middle of an eviction process. What was it? Right before she delivered the babies. Right before she delivered the twins, she was right in the middle of the eviction process. And she told us, and we never know like what's 100%, but she told us that she was in this eviction process due to not stopping and making sure that the rent got paid. She said it wasn't because that she didn't have the money. She just said she had not done her due diligence to get her rent paid. And, we all know that Peach has a gambling addiction, and, she is quite likely to go ahead and spend all the money, and then knowing that, I could gamble, I could win it back. If I don't, I'm going to make it back next month. I can sell these classes. I can do this, that, and the third. That's just how her mind thinks, that, it's cool. If I lose it, I'll just get it back. And I'll just do what I need to do when I get the money back. So apparently, whatever it was, whatever reason she did not make sure she got that rent paid, they went through the eviction court, and she had to get in there and pay her everything that she owed, right? Fees and the back rent, the new rent, everything. She had to pay everything that was due. And then she still was waiting to see what the outcome was going to be, if they were going to accept this, because apparently once you get in the process of the eviction, either the court or the renter, the landlord, one of them doesn't have to accept that you want to stay and that you paid. If anybody knows exactly how that goes, especially in Florida, please get in the comments and let us know exactly how that goes. But we do know that there was a chance that they weren't going to accept the money even after she had paid it, but that was just what she had to do in order so that she could stay while the decision was being made. So at this point, someone who has been diligently watching to see how this was going to turn out has found that, yes, indeed, Peach's MCINTYRE proper, I believe, is actually going to have to get out. of the property where she is living with her husband and 7 kids, 2 kids still in Tampa, Florida. If I'm right about that, in the NICU, the neonatal ICU for babies. So the babies have never been there. The other children live there, and her husband lives there, and she lives there, and they're all gonna have to get out. You know, now Peach just went through a situation just a couple days ago where she had to go to the Child Protective Services and basically show up with all of her children to get some sort of medical evaluation because someone doesn't think that she's taking care of everybody medically the way that she should be. And you know what, to be honest with you, I don't know where that's coming from. My opinion, as far as the eviction is concerned, you know, I think it's very unfortunate. I know that Peach and her husband, they're very young, and she has essentially moved herself away from all of like the elders in her life that could be like some sort of an influence. But, you know, according to her, all of the people that she knows are not worth being around. So, you know, I don't know. There's just no other wisdom or influence in her life other than, if she's telling us the truth, other than her and her husband. And maybe some, you know, friends or mentors or people like that. But, you know, we don't know because, you know, we're not with her 24/7. But I just don't get the impression from Peach and her way that she is, her personality and how she carries herself. I just don't get the impression that she's listening to anybody all that closely. And when I say listening, I mean actually doing all of the things that people, you know, would tell her to do if she does have a mentor, if she does have like a person that's like a voice of reason in her life. I just have the impression that she wouldn't be doing what they're telling her to do all the time, even if she did. So, you know, so that would be one reason why you would have, you know, you have this rent, you know you have to pay this rent, you know that you have to, if all else fails, you and all of these children need a place to live. And she always talks about the fact that she can't get any government assistance because her income is absolutely too high. So you don't want to be around any family. You don't really want to be around anybody that you know. You don't want to be around your family. You don't want to be around Wood's family. It doesn't seem like there's anybody else, because let's just say there was other people that she's not allowing us to be privy to. Well, if that was the case, she probably wouldn't have needed to get her kids over to her mom so that her husband could come to the hospital with her. You know, it's like it's nobody else around. So there's nobody that is kind of keeping a voice of reason flowing in her ear. And I say that because when you're, you know, she's early 30s. And I consider that to be very young. Yes, you have a lot of responsibility, but you are also very young. And it seems like all of the people who could be, you know, constantly kind of checking in with her, kind of, you know, asking her, a little bit of questions. Have you done this? Have you, I see you're gambling. Are you making sure you're doing that? Those things can get on your nerves as an adult, but at the same time, they kind of hold you accountable. They kind of keep you honest. You might be angry with a mother or a grandmother or, a dad or somebody who's like constantly needling at you. Have you done this? How's everything going? Did you make sure that all of this stuff was taken care of? I see you've been going and y'all have been doing a lot of traveling. Have you made sure this is done? Well, have you thought about setting this thing up over here as a safety net? Do you have enough savings? If you have people like that in your life, you might not necessarily appreciate it when they're saying these things. It might seem like they're butting in. It might seem like they are, just getting on your nerves, not giving you credit for being an adult. But at the same time, it's also something that's keeping you from like going too far. And it seems like this time, somehow, Peach just has gone too far. Like, it's kind of like when an alcoholic or a substance abuser is hitting rock bottom. This really feels very much like a rock bottom in Peach's life, because look at it. I mean, there's all of these babies, all of these, you got at least two toddlers, probably under 5-year-old. You definitely have a baby. Phenomenal is a baby. And then I really do believe that the one that's right before him is very young. I mean, he's probably 4, or he could even be younger than 4. And then you have 2 newborns. So that's 4 babies. And then you have 5, children, only one of which is like a little bit, a teenager, a little bit older and everything. But from the way that Peach describes her oldest child, Gregory McKay, he doesn't really like to drive, feel comfortable driving. And that's okay, because he's just a child too. So there's only 2 people here that are in control. And with those 2 people that are in control, they're both, if Peach is not lying to us, they're both very much out of control adults. Both of them with what Peach says she has a gambling addiction, but it sounds like Wood has a gambling addiction too. It's giving rock bottom, and I hate to see it. I hate to see it. The only saving grace in this situation is that there is so many like alternative living styles and things like that you can get into now if you have the money. I don't know how soon they're going to need to literally get out of the apartment or the condo or whatever it is that they're living in now. I don't know how soon they're going to have to get out. But nowadays, in which I don't know that this was the case when I was their age. Matter of fact, I know it wasn't. Basically, you had rent, you had individuals you can rent from, so you could look up and find a homeowner where you could rent their house, and sometimes you could get into a house very quickly. It's a situation that you have to happen up on, though. You have to look, and sometimes you can happen up on getting into a house of a owner very quickly, as long as you have the money. Okay, with an apartment, it's always a process. It's always check your credit, check your rental history, check your job, make sure you have at least 3 times the rent and income. It's always that type of party when you are getting into an apartment. And then, of course, there's buying a house. And we all know you can't buy a house quickly unless you have like cash. I guess you can, but even if you have cash for a house, you're still going to have to go through like a closing process. I would imagine that if you have cash to buy a house, though, you can get that thing turned over really almost as quickly as you need it. Because I always tell people this: everybody that's in the business of homes, the real estate agent, the builder, the mortgage company, the loan officer, who else is in the title company? Everybody who is in the mortgage industry only makes money when houses sell. They only make money when not just houses, but properties. When properties are being sold and money is being exchanged, that is the only time money is being made. So when I'm talking to people about buying a house, which I do feel like more people should get into, like, get in the process. If you're just standing afar off from it, then start learning, start listening to people talk about it, start looking to see how much you could, if you could get into the house, where could you live? Like, I like for people to just get in the process, because when you're standing afar off from the process, it seems like it's something that you could never do. But when you get in and you start looking at it and you start talking to people, well, everybody in the industry needs somebody to buy a property. And it gets to the point to where, as long as you can actually afford your payments and all of that, it gets to the point to where things start to open up for you, because there are resources, there are programs, there are builders who will, help you get into a house that they're building. There are loan officers that know about, ways in which that you can go ahead and get in. And as long as you can afford it, I'm not talking about a situation where you can't afford it, but as long as you can afford it, I always think it's a good idea to go ahead and get into property ownership rather than leasing, because 9.8 times out of 10, even if you needed to get out of that house, you can put that house back on the market, you can sell that house, and you can pay that mortgage off. And most of the time, you're going to have money coming back to you from that house. Most of the time, if you stay in it long enough, it could be 1 year, 18 months. Most of the time, your house is going to appreciate enough in value so that you could resell that same house, get all the money, the money that you still owe on the house will go back to pay the bank off, and then whatever is left over from the value of the house now goes to the real estate agent, goes to you, or both of the agents if there's a seller's agent and a listing agent. But whoever is in whoever the agents are that are helping to buy and sell and then And then you, as the owner of the house, most of the time you're going to get money back from that sale. And if you keep the house long enough, you may enrich yourself to a certain extent. I mean, you might get more back than what you actually bought the house for. A lot more, hundreds of thousands of dollars more. So anyway, however I got into that, she has a lot of options these days. She can get into an Airbnb, and back to Peach McIntyre. She can get into an Airbnb and she can stay there until she figures out her next move. She can rent. Like I said, she can find somebody, a motivated homeowner that needs to get rent coming back into their pockets. She can find a motivated homeowner. She can hurry up and get in. She might even be able to find somebody for sale by owner that's willing to work with her a little bit until she gets things where they need to be so that she can actually assume a loan. There's so many options for somebody these days that have some money. And I would say probably for where they live, probably one of the best quick options would be an Airbnb. It might not be wonderful because you kind of don't want to be in a position where you don't have any protections, and those people at the Airbnb could lock you out at any time. Or a lot of times Airbnbs have lots and lots of strict rules and stuff like that. So it wouldn't be necessarily great, but at the same time, there's more options to where you won't be out here on the street with your little kids. So yeah, this is a bad situation. I hate to see this for Peach McIntyre. I hate to see it. It's unfortunate, and it's uncalled for. But hopefully it is enough of a rock bottom type situation to where she can go ahead and start getting herself, realizing like this is bad. This is bad. This is a close call. This is pretty devastating. And I need to get my stuff together so that I won't be putting myself and my children at this type of risk ever again. So I really do. I hope that it's a wake up call for her. And I hope that maybe she can also look around and find somebody. It's got to be somebody that this lady and her husband and 9 kids now can get along with for a little while, so that she can have some type of help. One of the things that I was wondering when she was getting ready to deliver is, why on earth do you not have somebody that you can call on to, why haven't you, I'm sorry. My thoughts are split because I'm running out of time here, but Peach, why don't you have somebody that you can call on to help you? Why haven't you hired somebody? At this point, it just, it's done came to this point in her life and in her family size, that she really does need to realize that it doesn't matter what Wood says. It doesn't matter how much he's going to help you. It doesn't matter how much y'all have talked about it and figured it out and agreed with one another and all that type of stuff. It does not matter. You need to pay somebody to help you. And you can't afford to go to the casino. You don't have it. You do not have it. And I know you think you got it because you have the physical money that comes into your account, but you don't have it because you need things that this money needs to buy. You really do need these things. You need some help. You need to hire somebody to help you. And you need to get on a different type of a wavelength, a different type of trajectory here. You need something that you are telling yourself that you don't need, and that is help. You got to pay somebody to help you at this point. You got these 9 children. Even when you had 7, you needed to pay somebody to help you. So you definitely need to pay somebody to help you. Now you're going to have to trust somebody. You're going to have to get somebody in there. And you're going to have to not care about a lot of the stuff that you care about. And you're going to have to ignore Wood that says he's going to do X, Y, and Z. And you know that he's not going to do it, or he's not going to do it up to your standards. And some stuff is just going to be not done and left, laying by the wayside, because those are not things that he does, and those are not things that you can trust him to do. And if you don't hire somebody, if you don't go ahead and get the help that you need, and if you don't go ahead and tell yourself the truth, that you don't have the money for this gambling, you don't have the money to waste, you just simply don't have it. You don't have all this time. You don't have all this energy. A lot of things need to be rethought. A lot of things need to be rethought. A lot of things need to be reorganized. It's deeper than just putting together another schedule. Because you need some things that aren't in a schedule. You need some people that aren't in the schedule. You need some money allocated that scheduling can't do. Some people need to be hired. And there's one last thing that I've been thinking about with Peach. She always talks about wanting the kids out the house and wanting them to, be going places and doing things and stuff like that. But she never talks about them being participating in anything. No lessons, no classes, no sports activities, no organized sports and stuff like that. And that might be difficult, having these many kids, but that's something that can be worked out. That's something that you can give the kids to do. And that's something that will really help them and make them feel a lot better than just going places and walking around and looking and eating food out and stuff like that. Organized sports is, really helpful. It's really, really helpful to children. Instead of just playing with their toys and stuff, they can be practicing. They can be practicing a skill. They can be going outside, kicking around a soccer ball. They can be dribbling the basketball. They can be practicing their drills at whatever sport you put them in. If you rather, or if you want them to do something artistic, they can be, you can put them in lessons for piano and things like that. I mean, there's a lot of other things that can be done other than just taking kids out to amusement and to look at things, where they can actually be participating and they can actually be becoming better. And that's something else that, we don't see in Peach's content, and we don't really know for sure that if she's doing that or not, but it's not giving that anybody is in any sports or anything like that. And so that's another thing that probably should, with this many children, that should definitely be added. And like I said, now she's to the point to where it's going to be challenging to get everybody to their practices and to their games and stuff like that. But I do still think it's doable. If you put everybody in sports that, kind of line up a certain type of way and stuff like that, I think it is still doable. I do. And, just work it out. But that goes back to priorities. She would have to definitely set her priorities up a whole lot different. And, gambling is just going to have to go out the window. I mean, at this point, I really do hope that that's something that she's seeing, that I'm going to lose. I'm going to lose big time. I'm going to lose more than just a jackpot. I'm going to lose big time if I keep this gambling in my life, because gambling and not paying attention, to what's going on, what needs to be done and stuff like that, that is, that's what's caused this kind of like major meltdown right now. But anyway, y'all, if y'all are praying people, say a little prayer for Peach today, that she finds somewhere for her husband, and her 9 kids to go reside. And I will see you on the next one. Bye.